Hello and welcome to another episode. Today, I actually want to talk to you. Yeah, that's better. Today, I want to talk to you about how we can change and shape the way how we grew up from the systems we live in. You see, our systems or the systems we live in were quite placed on us. So it wasn't really about deciding when we were younger, hey, does this really suit? It was more about, okay, to live in that system, to be in that environment, I need to um, follow those rules. I need to follow what has been mm, needed to be in that environment. And so, not to say that there is something wrong with that, but to say maybe it doesn't serve anymore, right? And I'm bringing in quite the mm, I want to bring in some kind of lightness because this is not about, hey, I need to, I don't know, study for like another 10 years to release those things. I don't believe really in that. I believe that that can be done quite shortly. Yet it does need to, you do need to be precise and you have to be able to look at it, right? You have to look at what's going on in your life. And if you're not willing to really observe, and the word is really it's an observing, you observe yourself, you observe what's 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 not good anymore, and why you have actually installed that in the beginning, right? So oftentimes those are those programs that we are not aware of because we do live in those systems, and those rules they do apply. So you have to kind of follow the game, right? You have to follow up with the with with those kind of rules that are set in place for that system. For example, if you're going to school, right, you have to play a certain role to fit in. And we try really big to fit in. We try so hard to be part of the team. It's not really much about who are you. It's not really much about your persona, yourself, about how to bring and shine from the person you are. It's not really much about that. It's about, do you fit in that system or not? And when you're small, you don't have the possibility much to decide by yourself. You're basically kind of rooted in those systems according to the parents or people who are looking after you, and they kind of guide you in those systems. And maybe they have not really much power in those systems either. So I'm not saying it's their fault, I'm not blaming anyone. And I believe that when we are looking at those things without shaming or without playing the shame game, right? Because that's really on a low level where you cannot do much. Those kind of emotions need to be looked at, you need to be able to let them up, right? But in a higher consciousness, those things are not really helpful. So you're not really working directly with the fear or with anger. You're letting that bubble up a little bit to become neutral. I love neutral because it's not about blaming or putting any finger. It is purely about, let's see what we can do in that matter because something seems to be off. Something doesn't seem to sit right because maybe you changed. Maybe you want to be another person. Maybe you want to show up differently. Maybe you have um, another view, another world view than your parents, than people from your school. You know, when we grow up, we actually put on a lot of those things that are not ours, that are not our beliefs, that are not our emotions. And if we are not closely paying attention, we are keeping them up for the rest of our life because we don't know we have them. We believe that's us, we believe that's who we are. And I want to bring the awareness in because I had just had another talk, and so this will directly impact, I think, pretty much everyone here. So listen up closely. Do adjust in your own way, right? You may remember situations that are similar. You may remember, or you may get a flashback on how that was for you, right? We talk about the school system in this special scenario. Now you can apply this to pretty much any other system that was in your environment key, and you had to follow those rules. We do them, or we look at them, we observe them just by looking at it, not to attach yourself to it. You just observe, okay? So the story goes along like this. Mm, She's a mom of twins, and her girl, she was in school, and those school teachers, they told her what happens in adult life, and about our pension fund, about what happens when you lose your job, and all of that. So basically, they showed how our system here in Switzerland worked. But the way how they did that was very judgmental in a way. Okay, if you lose your job, you're a failure, you're nothing worth. If this happens ever to you, then you are a loser, you are nothing worth, you are um, uh, this or that. And it was very, very discouraging, right? And so this daughter comes home, was really, really depressed, saying, okay, but she was asking questions. Well, what happens if I'm losing the job, but it wasn't my fault? And the answer of that teacher remains the same. And so it was kind of like you're presenting everything that the teacher represented was about shaming and guilting the child, and telling her that she is nothing worth if she doesn't work, or if she's not complying with those rules we have set in place in Switzerland, right? So if you don't comply with that, if you are falling out of the box, you are nothing worth. That was the base message. And I have so many other examples for this, because it happened to me too when I was in school, and I received I know, a test result, and the teacher was telling me, like, you're never gonna make it, you're never ever going to succeed in this world if you're doing like XYZ. I couldn't really sit still, I couldn't remember what the teacher was saying, and it wasn't really that I didn't care for what he was saying, but I could just not listen to it. It was like school for so long, and I couldn't sit so still. And they and the whole game here was that I heard this every single day. You're not good enough, you're not doing much, what you're doing is wrong. You are doing wrong, you are wrong. All of those kind of sentences, they kept in my head for so long, because I felt it was true, right? And at one point, if you hear it over and over again, you believe this is true, right? And even if I'm telling you here and now that this is not true, you may look in the mirror and you're like, I know it's not true, but deep down I still feel it. You know, deep down I still feel that's true. Deep down I feel that what they had told me back then was true. Now, I don't know why those teachers are actually teaching that, but it's a way to control the people. It's a way to keep you small. It's a way to not fly on your own terms, not be in the world on your own terms. There is one thing that you need to know at this moment, and that's so crucial. It is, no one can actually tell you what to believe about yourself. What they do is they use fear over you to manipulate you. Okay? There is nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You are not good enough. That's not true. Okay? This is a lie, right? We are human beings, and you're good enough the way you are because you exist, because you are. That's already it. I am that I am, right? You are already good enough the way you are without, I don't know, you don't need a diploma. You don't need, I don't know, feel a certain way or be a certain way, right? There should be, in my opinion, there should be the idea in a teaching where the base is you are already divine, you are already loved. There is nothing you need to add to that. There's nothing you need to do to earn that. You don't. You don't. And see, we are not getting this taught. What we get taught is you're not good enough because you don't work well in our systems. In the systems that we have set up, right? You can actually really apply this to anything, your corporation you're working in, right? Maybe you are actually speaking up your truth and they don't like it because XYZ, right? You're falling out of the box. They tell you they want to know your opinion, but actually, really, the reality is they don't, right? They don't. They're saying something, they're acting different. You thought you may be able to express yourself, but you are actually not really, because then you're judged for who you are again, right? So for people, it's extremely difficult to appreciate you for who you are, because that's not what it was taught all the years long. It wasn't taught. It wasn't shown to be yourself. It wasn't. So it's not your fault and it's not the people's fault. You see, we all follow those kind of structures because we are unaware that those templates are still running. We are not aware what we are doing. And unfortunately, this is for many people happening, right? So it starts with each and every one of us to wake up and to be okay when someone is actually sharing something we may not like that much because it doesn't work in our structure, it doesn't function in our structure, right? It's so easy to say this, but when you're in it, you feel very uncomfortable because it's new, it's not familiar, right? Sorry, it's not familiar. So if you are actually doing, if you're actually speaking up and if you're actually sharing your truth, right? If you're sharing your truth and people don't like it, there could be several reasons for that, but there is one thing that you just need to know. And that is, you got to work on yourself that you feel good enough. I really like this one. Maybe I come up with another one, but I love this one tool. It's really simple. Listen, guys, let's go back to being super simple. You don't need much. You don't need to, I don't know, buy whatever essential oils, crystals, and whatsoever. The the only thing you need is the way how you show up in your life, the willpower, the I'm going and I'm getting it, right? I'm putting my focus, my intention straight to this. So go and look into the mirror and tell yourself that you are enough. Just use the phrase, I am good enough the way I am. You can change this to, I am love. I am divine. You see, you're the extension of that. So, whatever you've heard previously from any system, was not really the truth, but actually it was hard for them to teach you otherwise, because mm, that was not really open, right? That possibility that you are already good enough without doing anything, that was not open. It wasn't open to really teach that. It wasn't, the world was just not there. It wasn't ready for that, right? I mean, those teachers I had, they really did the best they could with the knowledge they had, right? That was what they showed me. You see, they worked super super hard for their whole life to do what they do. If they would hear me teach now, they would be probably like, okay, something must be wrong, right? There must be something, because else their whole life, the way how they lived was wrong, was not true. And they thought they lived the truth, right? And I'm not saying I hold the truth for you, right? I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying though is that you may choose again for yourself. Wisely choose, because the way how you choose will dictate your life. It will show you where you're going, if that is right or wrong for you. You see, I don't really believe in black and white and right and wrong. And I believe there's always a gray line. And the more I work in this, the more I can see how gray that actually is. It becomes, instead of white and black, it becomes a lot of gray scales, right? There is a lot of gray in between, but not really white or black. You see, when you start to work on those areas, you start to see, okay, I choose if I believe that. I choose every single day if I want to believe that further or not. But you need to raise your awareness towards that. If you are not aware that those systems are still running your show, you're not really the hero in your movie. And you want to be the hero in your movie, because it's you to feel joy, to feel love, because that's already here. You see, this world is not about uh, only war and only bad news and only about, I don't know, bad things happening, but it's about what you consume. What do you eat every single day? And I mean, really, literally, or watching on your tablet, on your phone. What are you consuming every single day? And every single thing that is fear based, and I mean, like, there is always like this underlying fear. And if you hear or see anything like that, just be super aware that that's not, it's just not a teaching that I would suggest. Okay, now you feel into, for you, this is not a channel that I say, okay, I know everything and please do follow me and I'm here to have more followers than blah. I don't care. I really don't care if there is more followers or not. I'm here to give you some support. But I'm rather holding open the door. I'm rather a gatekeeper than this is the final result. This is the cake. This is the, here is what you're getting. I want you to decide for you what is right. I want you to step into your power so you do you. I can't do you. You need to do you by yourself. You need to find that spark again. Find who are you. All right, my loves, we are at the end of this video. I want to tell you one thing. If you are interested in talks like this, or maybe the last one, then you may be interested in watching and checking out the monthly subscription. It's not yet online, but I ask you to join the waiting list so you can actually receive the update as soon as it's available. So what we are doing is we will have about 1.5 hours of conversation once a month. where we will discuss each month on what is ahead of us and what can we work on today, right? Or in this particular month. I want you to, or I want to make this as affordable as possible. So there will be a low price on this. And I want you to really go into if that may serve for you, right? Because maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. So total freedom in this way. All right. So with that said, thanks so much. And I say goodbye.